Hi, I'm Lissie.
And I'm Simmons.
We're here to talk to you about stuff.
Especially history. We're doing a podcast about history. Hi! We're the Ink Drinkers. Contrary to our name, we don't actually drink ink.
We just drink tea and talk about history.
So join us as we learn about history.
Indeed.
Hello there.
Good day, good day. It's Lissie.
And Simmons.
We're here back with another episode of the Ink Drinker Historians.
Yes, we are. We have a new series that we are starting here. Mm-hmm. Is this what we decided upon? Right there.
Yeah, that is.
All right. So our new series is called 12 Doors, the 6 Tudor Monarchs. Mm-hmm. And as you may guess, we are talking about
the Tudor family. Think back in the 1500s, back when King Henry VIII was in power, and then think his children and niece.
Those are the Tudors, and that's who we are going to be talking about. So to start off with, we thought we would talk about Henry VII, who is naturally Henry VIII's father. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, I was doing my research about the Tudors, and I was thinking, when did last names or surnames first come into use? And so I was very curious about this, and
I've wondered this for years.
Yeah. So I decided I would research those. So that is what I did. All right. So surnames were in wide use by the mid-1400s. Before that, they weren't really a thing, and then they started. It wasn't like, in my head, I had always pictured it being an official thing that some king said, all right, everybody must have a surname. You must decide upon one. But it looks more as though they were just kind of involved into people's speech over time. For instance, there's a couple different kinds of surnames. Like people use their nicknames as surnames. For example, like somebody the Lionheart or something like that. Just their nickname became who they were known by. Mm-hmm. Or a very, very common one was their father or their mother's name was used as their surname. So you'd say, oh, that's Edward, Richard's son. So,
or, for example, William's son.
Williamson.
That sticks in my head for some reason.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that got shorted to like David's or Edward's. That's where we get those from as well. And also, I was thinking about people with the Scottish last names of like Mac something. Mm-hmm. And that's Mac apparently in Scottish means, or Gaelic means son. So
interesting.
Mac Elrod is Elrod's son, Mac Elrod.
So does this mean that someone out there had Scottish heritage and they're the ones that started McDonald's? I'm a horrible person at this sort of thing. I'm not good at joking like that.
Nah, I don't love McDonald's. And some other ones that are also very common are occupations. They would become known as their occupation, like John Smith, or the tailor, the cooper, things like that. Or places was also another one, named after a place. Hampshire, Sutton, Wales. Those are some places where those ones came from. Or geographic things like Wood, Hill, Moor, or Ross Rose kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then another one is estates. For example, George V named his family Windsor. We know Windsors now. That's the royal family now. After Windsor Castle, which was his estate.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was back in, I think it was the 1920s. Was it 1920s? Maybe 1820s, something like that. He changed his family's last name. So that was all I had to say about surnames. Just a little bunny trail I went on researching.
Very interesting.
Do you want to talk about this right here, what the origins of how the Tudors came to be?
I don't know very much about it.
Okay. We did our separate research, as we usually do. So we know some different things. But if you want to pipe in, please do.
I will.
A lot, yes. Don't want to do all the talking myself. So, the Tudors kind of came around in the late 1400s, early 1500s, this dynasty in the monarchy of England. It started with the War of the Roses. This was a war that was fought for about 30 years. It was fought between two families of Lancaster and York. and both of them claimed the crown through Edward III, the previous king. They weren't pleased. This kind of started because they weren't pleased with how Henry VI was acting as a king. He kind of went insane a little bit as time went on, and they didn't think, probably rightfully, they didn't think he was competent enough to be king.
Yeah.
So this fighting went on for about 30 years. I don't have much to say about it until Henry Tudor ascended to the throne. He became known as Henry VII. The way he did that is he killed the person. He was from House Lancaster, and so he killed the person in charge from House York, which was Richard III.
Interesting.
So the war ended in 1485, and Henry VII ascended to the throne. The next year, he married Elizabeth of York, thereby uniting the Lancaster and York families that had been fighting this War of the Roses. He actually used marriage quite a bit as a tool of uniting kingdoms during his reign. So his children would marry different nobility from, like, France and, I want to say, Scotland, like Spain, places like that.
Kind of like what Marie Therese from Austria did during the 1700s when she was fighting a war against Prussia. She married her kids off to powerful empires, and that's how you had Marie Antoinette marrying King Louis the 16th? I may be off on my Louis, but somewhere around there. And that's how you get those sort of empires built, is you marry your kids off and make alliances. I mean, those alliances can still break if your kids hate you, but...
Yes, or if the kids hate each other, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yes, he used marriage as a tool through his children quite a bit to unify kingdoms. I meant to look this up. I can't believe I didn't write it down. His other children, because that might be nice to know as well.
Who his other kids were.
Who his other kids were, yes. So, he had 8 children, but only 4 of them, survived past childhood, which was a rather common thing back during this time. During his reign, Henry VII was known for being very wise with his finances. He wasn't squandering the funds of the crown like many other kings and queens were accustomed to doing. And even during his, while he was reigning, the treasury grew twice its size from when he got it from when he died and passed on the throne. And when he did die, it was in 1509, and he passed the throne to Henry VIII. Henry became king in his place.
And from what I've read, Henry VIII just kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will learn about Henry VIII next episode.
In the next episode, yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
Yep, I'm Lissie.
And I'm Simmons, and we're the Ink Drinker Historians.